All right, another week recap. It's gonna be week 4 of July. Really good week. Really good week. This week was phenomenal. Um, Gonna be going over all the setups that happened. We had setups every single day of the week this week. Holy new week opening gap, 188, damn near 200 point gap. What the fuck? Okay, excuse me. Anyways, starting off with again. As soon as I start, it's perfect when I'm marking up all the setups this week, but as soon as I fucking start recording, that's when TradingView wants to do this bullshit. Fucking ridiculous. Alright, well, first day of the week, Monday. Pretty odd structure, I would say. Let me go ahead and turn the drawings off, actually. Okay, so, rejecting off this sell side sweep. Okay, we have this volume imbalance over here. Rejecting off that, so ideally we're going to be bullish. Okay, we're in this 4-hour gap up here. We don't have much 4-hour structure going on besides that order block that got generated on the hourly. The only thing we have is this hourly gap getting tapped and pushed higher, but that's the only gap. If anything, we're generating sell side targets. So if you go to the 15-minute here, you can see very clearly that we have got quite a bit of low resistance right here. We have session lows that are stacked upon each other, relatively equal lows, Asia low, London low. So this is going to be my point of interest here. Now if we go to the daily time frame, you can see we have an unfilled daily gap up here, as well as another volume imbalance right there on the daily chart. So that is definitely something that we can use. Yeah, just looking for any type of manipulation higher, and then, you know, a setup going lower, because you can see here that it's going to pop up. There we go. We got a bunch of low resistance even on this lower time frame on the 1 minute. So really just looking for, manipulation higher, which is exactly what we got. We got to push higher. Boom, 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 boom. Now here, this is what I really like about this setup here. We get a failure swing, not a failure swing low. We get a swing low. Okay, obviously it's not a really deep swing low. It's just one of these very low, small retracements. And then we run back up, sweeping that level, re-sweeping that high, as well as tapping into a key level. You can see here, what is this from? New day opening gap. Okay, yeah, this is from market close, market open right here. New trading day opening gap. I'm not sure what to call that. But anyways, we got that getting tapped. We also have that daily, or is it this daily imbalance? Fuck, the word just flew out of my mind. This volume imbalance, okay, very huge volume imbalance. That's what we can use. Now one thing that happened on this trade, right, is so here's the entry model. We present a 1 minute IFEG here, as well as a 2 minute, which is what the trade is mostly based off of. Now we just tap this to the tick, right, this volume imbalance. We didn't hit the daily, but the reason why we don't need that daily to get hit is because, we already tapped this volume imbalance, and just seeing the rejection we got off of here, plus we got not only the rejection, the reaction off of it, but we also presented a whole entry model off of bouncing off this volume imbalance. So if we really wanted that daily, we would just, continue trending up until we hit that daily and then give the entry model. But since we got it off this volume imbalance, this is 100% valid. And if we get stopped out here, you can just always look for a re-entry after the daily gets hit. Now, in terms of the break-even point, we had an unfilled 5 minute here. All right, and then I just really like the way this, this order block is formed here, because we're going to assume that price is going to break this after hitting this point of interest, getting an entry model, having a great target below. This low resistance right here is just fucking a chef's kiss, bro. This is beautiful. There's literally nothing much more. In my opinion, there's really no better target than seeing LR below. That's my favorite type of target. To me, I like it more than data lows and equal lows. It just looks so fucking. It has to be clean like this though. Now we do end up flushing all the way down to the sell side here. We did give a 3 minute entry model here. All right, there's that 3 minute if you didn't catch the first move. My problem with this is stop loss placement. Like, I like these entries, but I just never know, or not that I don't know, but it's just too risky for me to have a good stop loss. Because if you want a good stop loss, you're gonna have to sacrifice RR, and it's just, I hate dealing with that. So 5 minute did not quite get the entry. Not sure we popped back inside this 5 minute before giving the entry. That was some fucking bullshit. And then we gave it after hitting the targets. That's gay. But anyways, there's really nothing else you could have targeted here in terms of the hourly. No gaps, nothing. We do have a very, 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 very tiny fair value gap right here in the hourly. Right there, as you can see, it's right there. Just in line with that LR that we generated. The 30 minute, again, nothing much besides this gap here. It's getting retested. The next duo is all the way down here, but that's just way too fucking far. Way, way, way too far. Now, if we just play the rest of the kill zone out, we don't really get much else. Yeah, so once we hit that level, we do get some reaction. We give a long off here after sweeping this low inside of a fair value gap. We have some LR above as well. It's pretty decent. I like it. Not enough to take it, but yeah, I think it's pretty decent. Where the fuck is the line at? There you go. Good entry model here. I like this entry a lot. We end up displacing higher. We failed to hit the 5 minute, which is most likely what I would have targeted this 5 minute up here. But I think we did hit that 15 minute. Let's see. There was no 15 minute actually, so yeah. Wouldn't have been TP for me. I mean, it depends. You could have just really just targeted this buy side, but yeah. End up running lower. Giving another long here. Probably fails or gets break even depending on how you play that. But I like the LR right here. But this is perfect LR right here. It's probably during lunch hour, I assume. No. But it wasn't. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, that's gonna be that play. The only play I liked today was that 2 minute short. That was pretty much it. And then, you know, the later entry off the 3 minute. But on to the next day. We got Tuesday. Hello? Okay, that was weird. Tuesday, another day of odd structure. Okay. Tie the drawings here. Really big overnight move once again. This looks like about 6-7, yeah, about 530 point move up. No retracement, so we're just really overextended. We've already taken out this buy side. There's not much targets over here to the left. It's just, you know, a staircase of highs and lows. No unfilled gaps nearby. No gaps on the hourly. No gaps on the 4 hour nor the hourly. On the daily, let's see what we have here. I guess we retest this or actually hit that daily imbalance. So that's one thing we can look forward to. And also, this was just pretty uncorrelated with ES and NQ. ES, we had equal highs at London. All right, we have already swept London. All right, we're sweeping this low as well, that intermediate low, as well as hitting the 4 hour gap and then getting a push higher. So ES looked relatively bullish. It looked pretty fucking bullish, actually. Now NQ, all right, we've already hit these highs. It's becoming high resistant. We have an unfilled 4 hour at London low. Pretty uncorrelated, if you ask me. Now, off open. We have, you know, a wick getting printed higher. We get some Judah swing. I don't like any of the entries here because we hit the 5 minute already and the 15 minute at the time that happened, or retested, I should say. And yeah, just nothing really A+. I do like the DOL being down here, though. I want to see a manipulation lower before we run higher. Now we come up, we hit this rejection wick up here, all right, and then we get a reaction lower. Not only do we hit that rejection block, but we also hit that gap there. So we got the RB there, respect this gap. We get a push lower, we respect this gap, and this is what I really love these type of entries. Where we get a respect higher, putting in this order block, and then we close beneath it, presenting a CISD. And that's what we get right here. All right, CISD right there. Projection block up there. And we get, presented the entry all the way down here. Maybe there's a 30-second up here, I think. Yeah, so we get this 30-second up here. We could have definitely taken that. We inverse this 30-second BPR, presenting a 30-second IFEG. I think I took, I don't know, I didn't take this, but according to like data, I took this on a 1 minute. So around a 1-to-1 towards the DOL, you could have held for Shude open. Let's see, did we manipulate below? So we did already have that manipulation below Shude open, so I wouldn't focus too much on that. But yeah, this ends up delivering, but not before getting a retrace, and then not before edging it twice. So we pull back, hits break even, runs down, edges it once again, sweeping this low, pull back, deepen drawdown, and then finally hits that level. And then, so it seems like we do hit that true day open level. And then after we hit that, let me see. What am I doing? I'm doing some bullshit. Let me take this off the screen. So now, that was a pretty mid setup in my opinion. I don't like it just because, you know, the DOL is not really confirmed. Yes, I've already swept that. And then the only reason I would consider it a setup is because, I mean, I really like how the entry model looked. Very risky setup though. Now here, we got a bit of low resistance getting formed. Okay, I can just mark that out here. There's low resistance getting formed. Although, the one thing that kind of stopped me from taking this is I didn't like how we had good relatively equal highs right there. And this just gets swept, putting in a high resistant high up here. So I don't like that we did that. I really don't. Now we get a sweep. And at this point in time, ES has triple equal highs with London high. Alright, triple equal highs. We sweep this low as well. We end up pushing higher. Price action does not look too favorable. Now at this time, price gets a pullback. We put in a low time frame SMT. ES sweeps here. NQ does not. Alright, ES sweeps this low here. NQ does not. Retesting that true day open level, and then we're just followed by a great displacement candle to the upside. We inverse this 1 minute BPR. Great displacement, about a 100-point move there. We also inverse this BPR over here to the left, if it lets me mark it out. This BPR over here. And then on top of everything, we inverse this 2 minute BPR right there. Very good entry model in my opinion. The reason why, like I said, I didn't, take this was just because of this high. I would have 100% taken this if we generated more low resistance up here, adding on to these relatively equal highs. That would have been perfect for me, but we didn't, so I personally stayed out. Also this high up here, I don't know why in my mind I figured this would be another high resistant high, just because, we had tapped into that daily for value gap, but overall we're fucking bullish, so why the fuck does this matter to me? I don't understand why. I was on complete bullshit. Not only that, but this was a 930, another volatile price point, swing high off the Judas swing, so that's a great target we can look for. Stops below this BPR IFEG, as well as just underneath this candle closure, giving room for both these imbalances right there to breathe. We end up pulling back from this high down to this low. We tap into EQ the range, and then pretty much just continue to run higher. We edge the target up there, and at this point in time, we pull back into the 5 minute, as you can see right there. Pull back into that 5 minute, and then we're just presented by the most beautiful 30-second structure. Now, oh shit, there we go. Since this leg has been rebalanced, it, sponsors a new leg, which would be this leg now. From this high down to this low, we hit EQ of this range. Alright, and then manipulate into that 5 minute, resweeping this low, presenting another entry model here. Alright, off the 30-second. Bang. Not only that, stops can be pretty tight off here. Aiming for 1-to-1, you could even put it above, like underneath this IFEG. That would have been good enough. This is just so textbook, bro. We got CISD up here. Alright, CISD plus the IFEG. Not only that, but we also inverse this 30-second up here as well. And we get a break of structure. This is so fucking textbook, bro. Now, I wouldn't wait for the 1 minute here. We had a 1 minute up here. I would not wait for that just because the 30-second is so textbook. But if you did, you got lucky enough to get still a decent fill, right? This candle was like about, you would have missed out on like 4 extra points there, but that's nothing. But that's also pretty risky if you wait for the 1 minute because there's a really high chance price could have just closed all the way up here on the 1 minute, right? Really good entry. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this day. This happened pretty late in the session too, so that's, at this point it's 11. But yeah, to recap everything, horrible price action, a good Judas swing. I just don't like the structure in here. We get better structure, which is why I like the entry model and why I consider this to be a setup, even though it's a pretty shit setup or really risky. We do get a pretty good setup here off the 1 and 2 minute IFPG, both inversing, and then we get that continuation setup during this play here. So now we got Wednesday. Alright, so price is extremely bullish here. Trump announces or threatens Iran with some bombings or some shit. Prints this huge candle to the downside, right? Data wick below. Now, I didn't really figure this would be like a target for us just because of how bullish we looked. So if we go to if we scale out here, you can see from this high to this low, we're in discount. All right, we hit discount. We swept this low inside of a discount. Why the fuck does this thing keep popping up? We swept discount, swept low in discount as well as inside of a fair value gap. If we go to the 4 hour, all right, fill this 4 hour gap there. If we go to the hourly, fill this hourly here. Overall, super bullish. Okay, if we go back to the 15 minute, not only that, but we have this sweep as well that we reswept that low, and then above this just looks so fucking textbook. We have London high, equal highs, all right, unfilled 4 hour and an unfilled hourly up here. This is so fucking textbook, bro. Textbook reversal point, textbook price action, textbook target. Everything looks so beautiful. I mean, you could have taken this 5 minute. This was before market open though. I don't trade pre-market, but this would have been such a valid long here. This looks so fucking clean. Now, by the time market opens, we kind of just run up to the target. Market opens here, we just bull run, no retracement or anything. This is just some bullshit. We don't manipulate into anything, or let alone even present a fair value yet. Or I guess we inverse this 30 second, but yeah, nothing too A plus. Now that we hit the target, I mean, I guess the next DOL we have is pretty far, but we can just hope to catch at least some of the move up here. Asia high, just a bunch of stacked liquidity up here, some low resistance. That's what really we can target, you know. Price runs out. We end up stalling before Asia high. All right, we put in a failure swing high, so now we can assume price is going to retrace, generate some LR, and we can get some longs from there, right? So boom. Is the play I took. Now, we are really heavy in premium, okay? It's not likely that we're going to come all the way down here and then push higher, so we can just, just wait for that protected low to get put in. We hit the 5 minute. All right, we hit the 5 minute, and we also hit the 15 minute. That just got put in, right? We hit the 5 minute and 15 minute. Now, at this point in time, we're just waiting for a good entry to the upside. I think we have good enough low resistance up here to take this 30-second play. All right. I don't like the close. I don't like the delivery. It's not the best. But if you take this, stops below, this breaker and this order block, break even at the internal high, pretty risky in my opinion, just because, again, we're really high in premium. But we did manipulate into the 5 and 15 minute. We have LR above. Main DOL is above. This looks pretty good to me in my opinion. Not only that, but we're also bouncing off the true day level open. So, or true day open level. I just mixed up my words there. But yeah, that's why that's pretty good to me. Ends up playing out a bit. All right, delivery to the upside, and then sweep this internal low or high. I keep fucking up my words. And then we fail to just take out the full low resistance. So that ends up failing. You could have partialed, you could have trailed stop loss, or you could have just got full, break even. But just depends on how you manage your position there. And then we end up just chopping. Then we run back up. We generate more LRLR, which is right here. And at this point, I'm already off the charts, not really looking for anything. We generate LRLR on both sides here. So right there and right there. We're breaking past this low. Bang. Now here, what do we manipulate into? We manipulated into a 30 minute. One thing I don't like about this, or a couple things, is that we end up inversing this 15 minute just by a little bit. Okay, just by a little bit. Nothing too much, but we also inverse this 5 minute. I guess we do reject off of this order block here. But yeah. What we did do is tap into that unfilled, freshly generated 30 minute. And then we're just followed by displacement to the upside, inversing this gap, clear LRLR. This should play out. This is textbook. But unfortunately, this gets stopped the fuck out. Depending on where your stop loss is. If you put it all the way below here, you would have been safe. But who wants to target Who really like in the right mind wants to target Ruts? It's not that bad. Stop loss is like what, 50 points? Yeah. It's not the end of the world, but I like IR like anything above 1-to-1 is pretty good to me. I don't really like specifically 1-to-1s, so I didn't take this play. I was already off the charts, but for me, not only that, but this is also a volume imbalance right there. We bounce off that volume imbalance. So I could definitely see, if I paid attention to that, I would have definitely seen like that, and I could put my stop below that just because it's volume imbalance. But damn, I didn't even notice that until just now. I have to put that on my data. But yeah, we end up delivering higher and taking out TP, full TP. Pretty unfortunate if you took this trade. Or it could have been unfortunate if you recognized that and put your stop lower, but yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for that. Ended up hitting Asia low, and I don't think we hit the full rest of the targets. We probably started dumping after that, yeah. Alright, anyways, now we got Thursday. What the fuck happened? Thursday. Okay, I just did a trade recap just a couple of minutes ago on this. So, structure is very, very bearish, as you can see. We're pretty overextended. All right, we need a rebalance soon. Not sure when. We already hit this target. Okay, we already hit this sell side, which is the major sell side. Now the next target is going to be this intermediate low, and then after that, it's just this weekly low, all the way down there, pretty far, right? You're asking for. We're already down like about 500, or from here. 600 points. Yeah, 600 points. And from here to this low, you're asking for another 300 points. So yeah, definitely looking for a rebalance here. Off open, we are presented with a 30-second Judas swing. All right, we sweep that intermediate low. Now the final sell side is going to be all the way down there. Really good pattern trade in my opinion. We have unfilled gaps, unfilled 5-minute up here, unfilled 15-minute. Same with up here. So, I mean, we're pretty due for a rebound. So, discretionally, you could for sure take this. Would have been most likely break even right there. Yeah, we end up delivering higher and higher and higher. And then we form the devil's mark here. All right, wickless candle as well as an unfilled 5-minute. Great target. We hit the premium 15-minute. We failed to hit EQ of the range. That's one thing to look out for. Provide a 1-minute short here off that. Ends up playing out partially and then runs up to break even, and we ends up running back lower, and right now we're just kind of just chopping up and down, right? Now I would have loved a short if we generated LR right here and then take a continuation short, but we didn't, right? What we started doing was some bullshit. We started keep sweeping the lows, and then just building LR to the upside. We did get presented with a 5-minute short up here. I did not like that because I mean, there's no internal structure. It's just the lack of internal structure. You could look for 1-to-1 here. It looks pretty textbook, but the fact that there's just no internal structure is just horrible. We need internal structure. This almost fails because of that. We hit the 5-minute, bounce up. Would have been a break even anyways, but yeah, there's just literally no internal structure. Not only that, this is a high resistant low since this was the market open Judas swing, and we manipulated lower and then got to push higher. So you need that internal low or internal structure. I'm tripping, but yeah, we start generating heavily, and then we have heavy generation of low resistance above, and then not only that, but we have an untapped equilibrium up here. All right, this is yet to be tapped, yet to retrace the equilibrium. We came pretty close to it. We have a high that's right next to it, so that could definitely be something we could look for. Bam, we're presented with a 1 and 2 minute IFEG here. All right, they close at the same time. This would have been the entry right there. Another volume imbalance right there. Order block, devil's mark, wickless candle there. But we have a CISD, great displacement higher. We have an almost 100-point move off one candle for the entry. LR above, we had a decent target since we're looking for a rebalance. The only thing I would say about this is just like the lack of higher time frame structure and narrative. All right, we're not manipulating into anything key level. Literally, the only good thing about this reversal point is that it's a 930, market open price point. So that's pretty much it. I will say it does look like a really clean. What the fuck is this? It does look like a really clean reversal point on the lower time frame. Everything looks A plus, but just the lack of that higher time frame being added onto this setup with the confluences and shit. That's what I don't like about this, and that's how I could confidently say that's why this lost. If there was some high time frame structure, I 100% believe this would definitely play out. I don't see a reason why this wouldn't. But yeah, this ends up failing. Now onto the next day, Friday. One of the easiest setups. Why do I keep doing that? I could just go here. Just did a wait. Did I do? No, I collected data on this earlier. Didn't make a video, but very obvious DOL. So we have lower resistance up here and lower resistance down here. How can we determine what's going to get hit? Well, for one, we can just look at the higher time frame structure and see very bearish towards these levels here. We're most likely going to take these out. We have previous week low. Okay, on top of that, we have the daily low. And on top of that, we have, no, this is previous day low, daily low, London low. Just so much stacked up liquidity below. And then you can see we have an S&T here at these highs with ES. So it's going to be high resistant. Excuse me, if we just look at recent price action, you can see we inverse this 15-minute. We're most likely going to gun down towards this low right here, right? These lows. Off open, we hit this 5-minute BPR. We reject out of it. Okay, you can see here, pretty heavy rejection off that BPR. End up running higher. We hit EQ of this range. Okay, from the range, from here to here, we hit equilibrium. Not only that, we sweep this internal high. Okay, let me take this text off here. We retest this 5-minute gap. All right, retest this 15-minute gap, and then that internal high right there also generated an untapped 30-minute that we end up tapping into. So lots of good confluences here, and then after that we just get an immediate reaction. We get, I will say, this 30-second looked really clean, and you could have taken that 100%. But for me, the 1 minute looks pretty good as well to wait for. We get not only an IFEG with great displacements at the downside, again another 100-point move almost. But yeah, not only did we get a 1 minute IFEG here, we also got a CISD forming this order block. So another really good play here. End up getting a pullback into that 1 minute, as well as tapping into that order block, retesting the CISD, and then we eventually just push lower towards the targets, break even at the swing low. We end up stalling here. We get a pullback. I figured this would get break even, and then we just dump towards these DOLs. And then the next, I guess, target you could look for would be this 4 hour that we have all the way over here. And then from there, price is kind of just doing its thing. So just to recap and summarize, let me go a little bit deeper into this setup here. Because it's something I kind of struggle with. I don't know why. I was just not in my right mind. But here, I thought of this as being a protected high, and in my mind I was just thinking I want to see lower resistance get generated towards this low before I take an entry. I genuinely, I was so fucking brain dead this day. It's actually insane. I don't know what I was thinking. And then I was gonna enter off this right here once we respect this gap and close lower, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna wait for this 5 minute. I'm gonna wait for this 5 minute BPR to get inverse, and then I'll take it. By the time we got the inverse, low's already taken. I mean, I still could have taken a 5 minute and made bank off this, but yeah, I just stayed out, bro. I was not in my right mind. I don't know what was happening to me, but let's see. I mean, if we're gonna identify this low as being protected just because the market opened Judah swing, manipulating into that 5 minute BPR and causing this move up, we also gotta take into oh my gosh, I just fucked up my words so bad. We also have to take into consideration that this is also a protected high. Now, why is this a protected or a high resistant low? Because we manipulated into the 5 minute BPR, got a rejection higher. Now, why is this a protected high and a high resistant high? Well, it far exceeds everything about this being a fucking protected low. So here we sweep lower time frame liquidity, retests imbalances, we tap into an unfilled gap, we also hit equilibrium of this range, and then not only that, we actually have a fucking DOL below us. So why the fuck would I think this 5 minute BPR is gonna hold us? Why on God's green earth would I ever think that this low is protected? I don't want to take it because I believe it's gonna. I'm getting a call. Hold on. I gotta hurry this shit up. But yeah, this is definitely not a protected low. If I think something's a protected low, obviously our stop loss is gonna be at a protected high, low, whatever it is gonna be, right? So we gotta ask ourselves what is more protected, right? What is this protecting versus what is this protecting? Obviously, this is protecting nothing. We have high resistance highs up here. There's no DOLs up here. We've already manipulated into a key level, and there should be no more, pullbacks higher. I see no reason for that to happen. Here, we're protecting. This would be protecting a lot more. So there's a lot more behind this, quote unquote, protected low. It's pretty obvious that price is gonna head towards these. So it's just so like, why the fuck? We have all these confluences, like lining up towards the sell side DOL. This is holding up to nothing. This is just some random fucking printed low. So we gotta take into account. I think I just got too caught up in my analysis, and I was just brain dead, bro. I was fried this day, so we can learn from that. But anyways, let's briefly go over everything. It's Monday, very very good short here. Odd structure, I would say, but we have obvious DOL. We have low resistance on the higher time frame as well. Stack session lows. Manipulate higher into a volume imbalance, presented with a beautiful IVG here, unfilled 5 minute to go break even at, and just beautiful targets here. Nothing much more to say. This is one of the best setups this week. I would definitely say that for sure. Now Tuesday, odd price action once again, very uncorrelated with ES. We do give, more of a pattern trade, I would say, but also I do like the structure a lot, but I don't know. I don't like how price action looks. The only reason I like this is because of the structure we developed right here. Ends up fucking chopping. I would have gotten break even, edged the target like twice before actually hitting it. And then once we hit that untapped 4 hour, hit the London low, we hit true day open or midnight open, whichever you refer to it as. We're followed by a beautiful, SMT getting put in, and then a huge displacement higher, inversing the 1 and 2 minute, inversing all these BPRs. I'm getting another fucking call. Hold up, bro. I'm gonna join in a minute. Hold up. Fucking hung up like 3 times. He still calls me. Anyways, once we get that, we get a pullback into EQ, this range, tapping into this BPR, and then get that push higher towards this LR, and then the buy side, which is the 930 open Judah swing. And then this is definitely much better than this, just because it's more confirmation, and it's already, it's just much more. Oh, I keep fucking my words up, bro. Much more of a higher win rate setup, right? Because this. Where are we? No, this is the wrong day. It's Wednesday. I already lost my train of thought, so I'm just gonna go over this one right here. But yeah, we tap into EQ of this new leg being put in, manipulate into the 5 minute. Beautiful 30-second structure. This setup here has the best structure out of any setup from this week. This is just fucking beautiful, right? Buy side above, 930 buy side. What the fuck else was I thinking? Oh, that's what I was gonna mention. I forgot. Once again, I was thinking of this as a protected high. Why am I thinking of this as a protected high? If we're clearly fucking bullish, this high should not matter. We should blast through this, which we did. So another just fuck up on my end on my analysis. Now, Wednesday, very, very, this is the cleanest higher time frame structure all week. This one's the cleanest higher time frame structure. Manipulate lower with that Trump data news or data wick getting put in. Great deal up here, equal highs, session highs, unfilled gap highs, all that good stuff. And then we end up running past that, no entry presented. It's all good. We still have some buy side above. We come to a halt here, generating LR. We manipulate into a 5 minute and a 15 minute, present a 30-second IFEG. LR above plays out partially, gets stopped back down here at break even or a losing trade, however you manage that, right? And then we get a re-entry here, generating LR, manipulate into that newly generated 30 minute. Good displacement higher. This is a very unfortunate break even, but I mean, we do have a volume imbalance, so you should have accounted for that, or I should have personally. What else? You could have put stop below here, targeting just a 1-to-1, something like that. Just all depending on you. We have LR once again generated above, and of course it aligns with the higher time frame draw, which is up here. Another really good day of price action. I would say price action is not horrible. Yes, we did chop a lot, but all it did was just generate liquidity. That's all it did, was just generate a perfect target to target. A perfect target to target. What the fuck am I saying right now? Anyways, next day, Thursday. Dude, where's the setup? There we go. Thursday was probably one of the worst days of structure, I would say. Terrible structure. We already hit the sell side targets. We're just overexpanded. It's just really hard to look for a setup on these days. We have a very pattern trade Judah swing off the 30-second here, presenting that 30-second IFEG. I don't like it. I mean, it looks good pattern-wise, but something I'd probably never take. We end up manipulating higher into the premium gaps. We edge EQ, presenting some shorts here, which I didn't like. No internal structure, so I didn't take those. Ended up generating LRLR. Pretty much a no trade day. Literally all we did was just bounce between the market open range from 9:30 all the way up until 9:43. Generate LRLR. We finally break out of this zone, sweeping 9:30 sell side, presenting a huge displacement up with the CISD, IFEG on the 1 minute and 2 minute, LRLR above, and ends up just failing. Like I said, this could definitely fail just because of the lack of higher time frame structure. So it's a perfectly reasonable loss. I like this lower time frame structure enough for me to, at least give this a try. I'm not mad at that I did that at all. It was really good. Now we got Friday. Put in an SMT with all these low resistance highs, making this in turn a high resistant high, or a bunch of high resistant highs. Obvious DOL, we have previous week low, previous day low, daily low, London low, just all stacked up ready to get taken out. Off open, manipulate into that 5-minute BPR, get a push higher, and then we manipulate into another key level, which is going to be this, not resweep, but this internal sweep, EQ. I keep fucking everything up, bro. This is pissing me off. OTE getting hit. This is actually ridiculous, bro. Equilibrium getting hit. Internal high getting swept. 5-minute and 15-minute getting retested. Fair value gaps. Manipulating into a newly generated 30-minute fair value gap off this internal high. And then represented by a great displacement lower, about 100 points worth of volume here. CISD, IFEG, all these targets below. Bam, gets hit. Coming all the way down to this 4-hour, and then represented with just randomness. Could have longed here, could have not. I personally don't like anything. The only thing I could see here is don't like this rejection. Decent LR. Anyways, had this week slow, so I don't fuck my words up, and I can just end this video on a calm note, because I just really did not feel like making this video. I'm just so exhausted and tired. So that's gonna be it for this week recap. Once again, really good week. Every single day we had setups, about 2 losing setups, maybe 2 or 1 break-even setups. But yeah, Monday's trade, very good. Friday's trade, very good. Throughout the week, we had some pretty good trades, I would say. But yeah, Monday and Friday are definitely going to be the highlight of the week. And that's going to be it for this week recap, and we'll see what we get in this upcoming 5th week of July. So that's going to be it, and I'm out. Peace.